Hello, everybody. Brian here from quantlabs.net. Just wanted to show you some big advances in this analysis. I not only have the ranking for the currency pairs on what are the best to trade based upon the results I have gone over in past videos, specifically one I put out yesterday. The one that we are dealing with on my YouTube at
Hey
Quant
there, how's your
Labs
trading going?
is
Let
the
me show
most
you some
recent
algo
one.
financial market analysis that will give
Uh,
you edge, and this really
Yeesh,
kind of matters.
sorry about that. No, wow,
Easily.
I'm not doing too good today. Okay, let me go back under the videos tab. Okay, here we are. So I put out a video here called "Correctly Using Trend is Your Friend for Forex Algo Trade." So I'm going to use this logic, which seems to kind of work. And I have applied it to other asset classes, which are really CFDs within Dukas copy. So I want you to realize that these are currency pairs, real currency pairs from Dukas copy, and basically these are legit, no different than any other forex broker. But I've also done some comparisons on, I'm not sure what CFDs and what are binary options. So I've got here a small set of commodity, plus the bigger one that I'm interested in now is stock indices. So let me show you the best performing. Now, I didn't know this, but Bitcoin is being offered in Dukas copy. So number one, under the, call it quote unquote commodity, we have Bitcoin versus US dollar. This one, XAU USD is gold, and then TLT US and US dollar is Treasury. Here, Brent crude, number four. I have verified that there are no, the 200-day does not really cross over the 50 at all. So it comes back with zero, which nullifies this. Doesn't really matter anyways. This could be a bug, I don't know. But anything below it is not worthy to look at because it has a negative trend, meaning you will lose money. So what we're including here is 9 so-called commodities. But they're really CFDs using the commodity underlyings. So that would also include Brent, copper, junk, US bond, gas, and I believe that's silver. Okay, so that's what we're including. But the top three for this asset class is easily, without a doubt, Bitcoin. And then gold, which is a little bit, and then TLT, which is Treasury. So when you compare that against Forex pairs, let me load them up. The best pair, if anything's worthy to trade, is the Euro Hong Kong dollar. Remember, there's the same data frame or time frames, and the same processing to generate these numbers are the same. So they are kind of compared. They can be compared. So when you factor in the Euro Hong Kong dollar with this overall result, which is basically multiplying the slope moving average over the long and the positive returns statistically, and just giving you an end result of this at 394, whereas, well, let's go through it. You have the Bitcoin, which is at over 30,000. That's basically screaming to be bought. Then, if you wanted, you have gold, and then the Treasury CFDs. So these are theoretically outperforming the best currency pair of this Euro Hong Kong dollar, while the other ones, why tie up capital when you can get potentially better returns? Now I have to run this through the portfolio optimizer to compare, but I will do that in probably the next video. Now, it doesn't stop there. It's all fun and games until somebody loses an eye, or in our case, loses money. So what I've done now is I've also added, you can trade it once again through CFDs, indices from different regions in the world for stocks. So we got a strange bug here, which I'm going to ignore. But here, again, when you compare the results of the Bitcoin, gold, and Treasury up against the indices, our best performers are the Japanese, the Deutsche or German index, and then the top 30 index for US. So that's as defined by Dukas Copy. But surprisingly, you can do well with Spain, US technology, and then LSE overall as an exchange. So let's go through this and compare the numbers. So again, when you look at these results, you need to ask yourself, when you get on the best performing Forex pair of results of 394 versus these different asset classes, these commodities, or really CFDs, but we'll call them CFDs, or sorry, commodities. When you get this kind of performance of 30,000 for Bitcoin, 1341 for gold, and then 765 for Treasury, you already know that you would probably want to allocate very little money to Forex, because chances are you have stronger trend in those three I just mentioned, those commodities. But comparatively, when you start to factor in the indices, where Japan's at 24,700, Germany, let's call it 19,360, and USA top 30 at 1867, it clearly puts you in the mindset that right now, Bitcoin, USD, definitely, Japan, maybe, the Deutsche Index as well as the US. And this is where it gets really hairy, where you have to start looking at your different time frames for the 4 hour and 1 hour to confirm performance out of these, let's say, four. So if I was to do that, where I'm going to load up two folders here, one for, just give me a second here, for the commodity, and we are looking for Bitcoin. Okay, so when you look at Bitcoin, this looks kind of weird. I don't know. This does not look all that accurate. So once again, I need to verify what's going on here. But it don't matter, because what we care about is the 4 hour, which is going down, and it's going down from a period of around here, from 12,000 to 10,000, but it's bouncing up and down, and therefore you need the 1 hour because of the volatility of Bitcoin. So it's just up and down between 10,000, 11,500. So that's a tough one to gauge. And to be honest, if you are going to trade Bitcoin, I think you can only, there's no way you can trade it long term. But if you trade the crypto as well as any other cryptos outside of Dukas Copy through other exchanges, you definitely would need to day trade this. Okay, that's what it's telling me, because here it just goes up from roughly 10,000 all the way up to 11,500, drops down again within a few literally hours. I'm going to estimate, I don't know, 24 hours, 50 hours, from roughly 10,000 to 11,500. That's quite the jump, and that just jumps up and down. So you definitely can only day trade this. But the trend is there, and it's pretty good. So I'm not sure if Bitcoin's a wise move. It's really volatile, but the performance can be really good. So overall, it may be something worthy to put money into. but just judging from the volatility of it, it's an interesting asset class to be part of. Okay, I'll leave that open. Well, actually, no. Okay, so when we go into the equity side, again, let's check out the performance here. The Japanese index, I don't know what that includes from the Dukas copy end, but it's pretty interesting to look at. So if we looked at the trend, the daily trend, no, wrong one. Japanese index trend. Yeah, that's what we want. It's gone up about, now remember this is over a year, so it's gone up, let's say 20% in a year. There's been some nice moves here, but when you look at the signals, they're up. There's obviously more buy than sell. The interesting thing on the 4-hour is this sort of rise from 22,750 roughly all the way up to 2350. So this is why we have this strong trend, because of this jump. Now once again, when you look at, that's a 4-hour chart. Let's see, where's our signals? Here we are. You can see here, it's nothing but buy, 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 buy. A little bit of selling, and you're just loading up on this chart here on the Japanese index on the 4-hour. So that's quite an interesting move if you know about this. Now let's see what's going on in the 1-hour. So here's the 1-hour, and it's pretty, looking at it, it's fairly volatile. Yeah, this one's a tough one to gauge. If I was to do it, I'd trade definitely on the 4-hour. But zeroing in on this would be, that's a nice move. And generally the trend's right there to keep it moving higher from looking at the daily. So I find that quite something to be on the lookout for. Now, just so you know, I do have a set of patterns on the way being coded up by third parties. That's going to really help out to gauge on these up and down moves, to gauge statistically or with probability on the likely of a classic pattern that is being identified, and using basically statistics, the outcome should be this based upon the type of pattern. So I will be working on that to sort of narrow down the what I call bottoming process, if it isn't a bottoming or if it's in a flat line. But looking at the Japanese index, it looks pretty good. Okay, so when you look at this one here, the Deutsche, which is really the German, this is another strong one. Now I should be using J4X charting, which I'll check out in a minute. But again, when you look at the trend line here, it's fairly flat. But again, the trend is there a little bit, up roughly 10% again over the year. Sorry, 20%. So the trend is there, and all of these Excel files are ranked only on the daily. Okay, and that's why I rank them, just to sort of say, oh, maybe these will break out because there is that long-term trend. And again, when you start looking at the 4-hour, you definitely have no interest in that kind of chart. If you look at the 1-hour, let's see how that looks. You have this nice move, And when you look at those signals for that 1 hour, it's not so much, but you are more selling than buying on that time period. But yet, when you look at the signals for the 4 hour, you have a little bit more buying. But again, this is something I would definitely watch and put on the sideline because of the ranking that it's getting. So let's check out the U.S. top 30. Now, if you look at, just give me a second here. So we have U.S. tech. So we'll do both the U.S. top 30 and the U.S. tech. Okay, so let's just see where we're at. And this data is from earlier today on March 8th. So again, we're just doing this as a like eyeballing, but overall we're narrowing it down to what we're interested in. So here on the daily for the U.S. top 30, stripping out everybody else, you've got a pretty good move here. Again, 20% over the last year, roughly. And then the trend line for the 4 hour, that's not bad. Over the last roughly 6 months, I should get the dates in here. Would kind of help out, wouldn't it? So if you looked at the signaling for the 4 hour, there you go. You see that you have some nice buying opportunity on the U.S. top 30. Okay, so as promising, let's check out the trend line for the tech U.S. Nope, not right. We don't want that. Let's just U.S. tech trend line daily. So again, we have some nice moves here from 4,800 to 5,800. Not quite as strong as the top 30, but it's not bad. Again, when you look at the signaling, the buys is straight up buying. You load up on those babies. Let's see how the 4 hours looking. It's not bad from 6,400, 6,800. So just over a 10% move roughly. I'm very bad at math. 6,400. Yeah, I'd say a 15% move over the last 3-4 months. That's not bad. So let's check out the signaling. Yes, once again, we got lots to buy there. So overall, that is the indices through CFD instruments on Duca's copy. Now, again, you saw the, let me just load up the 4 hour on the tech, okay? So we'll do that, and then I'll load up the blah, blah, blah. Let's say the Bitcoin 4 hour as well. So just to do a comparison, Bitcoin. Yeah, so you can see here quite clearly where your capital should be going. And then also, let me pull up my that decent currency for, was it the euro, Hong Kong dollar was the best performing. So let's look up the 4 hour. Oh, wrong one. Let's check out the buying opportunity there through the signaling. So definitely Bitcoin doesn't excite me, but you compare these two, you have less blood on the US tech versus buying the best performing Forex pair on the 4 hour time frame for both. So you can see here on the left that the US tech is quite good. And then the euro, Hong Kong dollar, not so much. So let's throw that out. And then let's compare that against the US. So we got tech. Let's do this US 30 4-hour chart on the signaling right here. Okay, so there you go. So right now, that's where I'd put my capital based upon what I'm seeing on the signaling 4-hour chart where you want to load up. Okay, and then again, let's check out the Japanese yen on the equity. Okay, let's get that. We can see the different combinations. Now remember, we can check all this stuff out statistically as well. And it's from the same data set. So it's not like something to surprise you. Okay, so we want the, what was it, the Japanese, see how that is on a 4-hour. Japanese, where are you? Japanese 4-hour trend and signal. Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. So just on the 4-hour chart, you definitely have a lot of really good momentum. I mean, not too bad, but over the last little bit, the trend's just not there. It goes into a choppy mode, but you can see that the U.S. tech and U.S. top 30 are doing really well. So the whole point of why I'm showing you this is not just for stock picks as of today, of March 8th, but the idea is to show you that these charts that are generated can be very powerful to show you where to buy, where the breakouts are, and both 4-hour, 1-hour, and on a daily chart as well. So that's the whole point of this analysis. But if I was to look at the hourly, at this point I would not recommend to go to build strategies for less than an hour. That's a tough gig. You can do well in it, but I think using the old classic term "trend is your friend," that can be really helpful. And I'm hoping that you can see this. So let's go into the signals. See here, this is a signaling on an hourly basis for hourly. And if you were to buy into that and had a whole strategy, I can guarantee you'll probably lose more money as opposed to just buying on signals generated on a 4-hour basis. Just check out the tech, USA Tech as well, hourly. Yeah, same thing. You get too much volatility, too many positions that will go against you. And I think if you were just to watch the 4-hour for both of these, you'll do pretty good. And yeah, and that's even if you wanted to do, I don't know, there's definitely a breakout here. So those are nice trends, and you can trade off of that. So again, that's why I build these charts. But the patterns will be very, very useful more on the intraday when you do go into the bottoming or choppy mode or flatlining, as people call it, be it here with the Japanese yen. That's the 4-hour. Nice to catch that move. But yeah, but there's numerous ways to analyze. This is just one of many. I have statistics. I've not also included the pivots as well. There is a pivot chart I can generate. I'm not really. I can generate it, but apparently there's a lot of stories to be told on the pivot on when these turn. But then why have that? Then have patterns as well. So pretty overall, I'm pretty excited with what I have. But overall, when it comes to deploying capital, I'm hoping you can clearly see right now the hot money seems to be in the stock indices, namely U.S. If you were to be watching the 4-hour charts and potentially watching the Japanese as well. Not too crazy on the Deutsche, but yeah, those are the good ones. And Spain's one we didn't even look at to see what's happening in Spain. I mean, did you know anything that Spain is doing quite well? Probably not. Let's check it out. So we got the Spain. So let's check out the daily first. Wow, nice move from 3,000 to 3,600. So that is, again, just about 20% moves. Not bad. Let's check out the signaling for the daily. So there is some buying opportunity there. And then the 4-hour, let's see here. 4-hour trend line. It's flat. We don't like it. But again, I wouldn't tie up a lot of capital in this, but it's something to watch for. But that's a 4-hour chart, so there is lately been some up moves and breakout happening for the last 6 months. So once again, you wouldn't have known that unless you did this ranking in this spreadsheet. So this is where you get your gems through doing this process. And you may be able to watch some other ones judging from both the slope, and if you wanted to go crazy, then you can also look at the trend with the R squared. Let me just pull her up here. Where are you? Okay, where's my? Where are you on the? So we want the trend. This one here. Okay. So what this will tell you is, once again, on the different periods. I mentioned this in yesterday's video, and this is another way you can confirm trend. It's not recommended to use this exclusively, but it's just one of many views that we have now keep at our fingertips. And again, it's through the magic of automation, courtesy of the Python that I've been working on for the last couple of weeks, and I am quite happy with the results. So again, we will do a sort. Now again, I can do all of this automatically. Do a sort on H, slope D, which is the daily. Okay. So did I do that descending? No, I didn't. Let me just do that again. H descending. I got fat fingers on the mouse instead. So we want H descending, please. There we go. I think we got it. Okay, so here we are. What I showed you: Japan, Deutsch, USA, top 30, and then the Spanish, and then here, oddly, I purposely did this. The actual stock, or I guess it's a binary option considering through decoscopy, the LSE group, which manage the London Stock Exchange, and I think they also own the NYSE, the New York Stock Exchange, or I don't know. Anyways, let's focus on these guys. But coming back to the R squared here, so we have the slope and then the R squared on the Japanese yen, or sorry, the Japanese index. You can see out of 1 that it's a very strong R squared of momentum or strength of it for the daily. So that's quite strong for the daily on that. Also, same thing can be said for both the Deutsche But here, interesting is the US 30 is quite strong. And then also with the tech, which we have looked at here through the signals, the buy sell signals. So we can kind of verify that that is true. True. Where is my preview? Here we are. Yeah, so this is what we're referring to. Let's talk US 30. Go back to the spreadsheet. And again, this is the strength. Now, this is a 4-hour chart. We know that. But if I go into the tech right here, okay, and then look at the R squared for the daily, it's quite strong. Very strong for the, it's absolutely the strongest for the US tech. But looking at even some of these other ones we may have on a 4-hour basis, let's just do this out of curiosity. But let me just finish off the analysis. So you can see that the strength on the 4-hour is very strong, and it's also very strong at 0.93 on the US. And how do we know that? Well, if you again look at those buying signal opportunities, boom, 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 solid green, and boom, 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 solid green on the 4-hour for the US tech. Okay, so just out of curiosity, this R squared, as one example, is very, very key. So we know we're over 0.9 on the 4-hour. So let's check out EEM US, whatever that might be. I think it's emerging market. So 0.93 on the EEM US. So let's check out that guy. Now again, you wouldn't know this by reading or reading CNBC or Bloomberg or Cousin Johnny. I guarantee won't even have any info on this. So let's see here. Here's my PNG files. Okay, so we are looking for EEM. Okay, so EEM. We have, just so you know, for the equity, we have over 31 to choose from, just as much as the FX. Okay, so again, we're looking for EEM, which I believe it's a index for emerging markets. EEM, where are we? We are looking for EEM, this one. EEM. Okay, so we want, let's check out the 4-hour. Let me just do a trend. So that's a pretty strong one. Okay, so EEM. So if we look at the signaling, solid green again. Nice. Okay, let's check out the 4-hour. The 4-hour, pretty strong, 46 to 51. That's just over a 10% move. EEM signaling. Solid green again. Beautiful. Okay, so what is EEM? Let's check it out. EEM. EEM. So that's iShares MCI Emerging Markets. That's what I thought. So that is another little hot sector. Okay, so let's check out another strong R squared. Here we got another one, EFA. What is EFA? EFA. You could go on. So that's the iShares MCI EAFE. What is that? EAFE. Strange. EAFE. ETF. So that is iShares EAFE. Large, mid-cap. It's not bad set of returns, 24% for 1 year. That's pretty good. So that looks like huh. Here's your holdings. Nestle, so mid cap and large cap. Very good. So again, you can use the R squared and go, trend is your friend. Beautiful. Okay, let's check out another one here. Here's one, IWM USD. IWM USD. So you can see how important the R squared can be. IWM US USD. Guess we have that. Too volatile, if you ask me. But if you are wanting to trade it on a 4-hour basis, what does she look like? Not bad, not bad, but is it as clean on the signals? Yeah, there's a few sell in there, so doesn't excite me. Even though that is up on the 4-hour, but you can see it slow down on the 1-hour. So we have EMB, XLI, EFA we looked at. Let's see what else we have here. XLI, let's see what that is. Okay, before we go crazy, that is the XLI, XLI US, XLI US dollar. XLI US, let me make sure I'm, so here, the 1 hour is not as strong. Yeah, the 1 hour is not as strong, R squared, but XLI, let's see, XLI, okay, so we want the daily, okay, again, it's kind of too choppy. It's not as steady. When it's too choppy, this is what happens. You get some selling signals. See how it is on the 4-hour. Doesn't excite me. It's pretty good, but lately it's going into that little choppy mode. But again, you can check out all that stuff. So if we were to go with a low 4-hour R square, well, okay, so let's say we do this. This is the Dow Jones. So let's check out that. And these are not the hot performers. Let me see here. DIA, I think that's the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which has not been doing too good, I guess. DIA. Where are you? DIA. Okay, so we want the trend line for, so the DIA, again, it's all negative. So let's check her out. DIA stats, trend line. Wow, it's all been up. But the question is, why is the R squared negative? That is weird. So let's check out the 4-hour. The momentum looks like it's slowing down. So we want the signaling. It's still pretty good. That is very strange. The R squared is saying it's negative. Very strange. DIA, so on hourly. Here we go. That might be the problem. I have to like go through this. Yeah, it looks like it's definitely slowing down on the hourly. So if I go back to the trend line of the, it's got strong momentum, but you can see here, sorry, we want the daily. So it's this one. It's definitely doing something funky at this end here. Let's see here. DIA. Okay. So we want, let's say the daily. Yeah, see, it's come off since, so it's slowed down. But if I was to look at the monthly, yeah, see, it's done quite well and then just suddenly dropped off. So that's probably why the momentum's slowing down and the RSI's lower. Interesting. But you will have to do some more analysis on why. But to save yourself some time, you would be better off just to focus on the top three, let's say. And the thing is that when I run it through the portfolio optimizer, it will tell me which uh, which positions and weightings are best based upon the portfolio optimizer. So I'll optimize that. So even though you can look at all these other instruments, which is fine, they may or may not be something worthy to put money into, as opposed what we clearly identified. This one's good, the USA 30 and the US Tech as well, this one here. So it's good for that, but I would just stick with the top performers based upon this. But you know, there's a lot of variables obviously to be factored in. So hopefully this gives you a rough idea on the type of things that you can view. I haven't even touched upon. We took a look at the moving average. The Fibonacci retracement's good for pricing to see if it's within the level one, level three retracement. I'll just load up one. So this is way out of line. This is way overpriced. Ideally, you want that price to be here at 11,500. Level 1, 2, 3, I can't remember, but you want to go in where the price is just in this box it just created. That's or better yet, in this zone here, that's the ideal pricing point for your entry. So that's one way to look at with the Fibonacci. The stats is another. So let's say, well, let me pull up one of the better performing, the US, let's say the US 30, top 30. Okay, so statistically, we know this is a good one. We'll do the daily statistics analysis. So we get a text file. I've shown this in greater detail in a previous video. So we're giving you skew, kurtosis skew, but here's the mean. And the one I like to focus on is the number of positives versus negatives, because that again measures the momentum over the last year. And then you also would be able to get your close on your standard deviation, levels 2 and 3. So if your current price is in between standard deviation 2 or 2, you can treat it like it is the Bollinger, really. And then once you hit standard deviation 3, then you know you are in a prime extreme scenario or condition. And then when you look at the distribution, which is normalized distribution, you can see the level of returns, the concentration of them for this. So in this case, there's been more negative returns than positive, and we get the occasional outlier, which is kind of not quite a outlier or a fat tail, but it's a more stable asset based upon its performance over the last year that we can see statistically. So those are the sort of things that we can look at. Also, if I step outside of the equity and show you the pivots are quite interesting, which I've just really not been paying a lot of attention to. Maybe this one, the Euro British Pound. So here, what we're looking for are the pivot points. And along here, it tells a story. And you can generally gauge what it will do next just alone on the pivots as explained here. But I'm not putting a lot of emphasis on this right now because there's a lot of different ways to trade it. We haven't, as I said, we have not even factored in signals. But overall, we can now do stock indices. We can do so-called commodity as well, including Bitcoin, gold, Treasury, Brent, oil, copper, junk bond, gas, and silver, I believe. And then, of course, we move into the stock stuff, which is quite varied. I haven't gone through of it, but we have France, Spain, the industrial average. We have the exchanges themselves, the Deutsche, the SPY, so on and so forth, and Japan and whoever else. So we are there. Pretty exciting stuff. Okay, just wanted to gonna shut up now, and we shall talk to you soon. Oh, and be on the lookout for this stuff. That will be part of my analytics service. I haven't even gone over the fundamentals yet that we've got. I've developed a few years ago. It's very powerful stuff that's being generated here. Now I'll be part of my quant analytics service, ready to go soon. Talk to you later.